So, Fixer John, we're going to talk about a furnace problem, or specifically actually an HVAC, air conditioning. So, float valve. So there's a little water tray in your air conditioner, catches all the condensation. So that's inside the machine. And so that water, that condensation, like you see from underneath your vehicles, it's got to come out of this machine. So it comes out here, goes here, and then goes outside of the house. Well, what happens if this pipe gets clogged, the water fills up, goes back in the machine, starts going everywhere? Bad for the machine, right? This little switch, this, in my case, pipe switch, float switch, prevents that from happening. Water gets backed up, fills that up, everything shuts off. So I had a clog somewhere in this. I saw on another YouTuber's video a very important tip. I'm going to focus on one tip. There's going to be other aspects of this process. So I went outside, and I'll show you that in a minute, to vacuum out the line. You got to use a Shop-Vac. You can't use your household carpet vac. And so let's go out there real quick. But the main tip is going to be, while you're vacuuming, you hook up your hose outside, either tape it on there, get it latched on there with an attachment, and then while you're vacuuming, you come back inside and you pour water into it. So that's why it has to be a Shop-Vac that can handle wet. So let's go out there and see. All right, that little white pipe thing is where the water drips out. Now, if you're working with electrical things, good to disconnect the power. I have pulled that disconnect out. If you don't know how to do that, just be careful, please. There's electricity and water, and that's always a bad idea if you're not sure. So this little thing only ever dripped a little bit. You can see that's the water coming out great. But even when I poured water inside, out here, and looked, not much, it didn't really speed up. So the water was just backing up somewhere in there. So again, you could probably find some way to tape your Shop-Vac's hose on here. I spent maybe 10, 15 bucks, bought a Shop-Vac attachment. The instructions are terrible, so you just have to be smart and figure it out. So this right here is attached on. You can see the little connection point right there. Let's see if I can hold this in a way. So it connects onto the hose here. This part's flexible too. You can see it's got 3 different sizes. So this is going on here. It's a little loose though. So this other attachment that this one came with seems to make it a little steadier. So this is where you can just tape the thing on, but this one's got an attachment. So when you do that, and then you turn this on, you just let it run. Now you can see that pulled a lot of water in 2 seconds flat. Oh, it was out of focus while that happened. But so you leave that attached while it's running. So that's all attached. Obviously not at the moment, but you attach all that and then you go back inside. So this would be running. We're not gonna do that right now because we've already done this. So concept, this is running, that's attached. So while that's happening, while that is all happening, you take a gallon of water. This is water. I put water in here. I know it says vinegar. You take a good amount of it, not just a little. You can't half-heartedly do this. Have basically a gallon ready. So outside, the vacuum's running and it's attached. You find your equivalent to this. Make sure it's an actual pipe for the drainage. And then you pour that water in. And you keep pouring and you keep pouring. Because on mine, and I wish I had recorded this, at first I could not really hear the vacuum inside the house. You'd think with pulling all that air, I would have been able to hear it. I could barely hear a noise. But at a certain point, while I was pouring the water, it went from barely heard a noise to all of a sudden I heard it kind of go whoosh, and it had pulled the clog. On its own, the vacuum will not pull a full clog usually. You need the water, and the water acts like a plunger because the water gets vacuumed. So normally you're just pulling a little air and the air kind of grabs some of the gunk, but not enough. So when you put the water in, the water acts like a plunger and shoves whatever and pulls it and just rips it all the way through. So you actually, with the water, while being vacuumed, gets a much more better effect to scrape the sides of the pipe all the way down. So now when I vacuum, if I run in the vacuum, you'd be able to hear the whoosh, the hum, the noise of the vacuum coming out of this pipe. Now, again, not doing that. So the main thing here is if you have triggered your pipe switch. You've got issues where things are clogged in your AC condensation line, your drain condensation line. Vacuum from the outside, that's important. While you're vacuuming with a Shop-Vac that's set up in wet mode, come back inside, pour a gallon of water. That's the extra key that's gonna take this from a half fix to a much more thorough fix. Hope this was worth your 5 minutes. Hope you have a blessed day.